Hey everyone, and welcome to The Explainer. Have you ever sent a text or an emoji that was just completely misunderstood? Well, today we're diving into a really fascinating new AI that's designed to translate not just our words, but our feelings, and help bridge that communication gap between generations. So let's jump right in. It all starts with something I'm pretty sure every single one of us has experienced. You send a simple thumbs up emoji. To you, it means, okay, sounds good. But for the person on the other end, especially if they're from a different generation, it might land as passive aggressive or like you're trying to shut down the conversation. This one little emoji, it's the perfect symbol of the digital divide we're talking about today. And that's really the heart of the problem this whole project is trying to solve. The exact same words, the exact same emojis can carry completely different emotional weight. It all depends on who's sending them and who's receiving them. You know, in our digital world, it's like we're all speaking slightly different emotional languages. It's a translation problem, but for feelings. So you might be asking, how on earth do you solve a problem that's so nuanced, so human? Well, the idea here is to build an AI that can act as a kind of emotional interpreter. Let's take a look at how this generational emotions translator is supposed to work. So what is this thing, really? Think of it like this. It's an AI tool built specifically to decode all those subtle signals in our digital messages. You know, the slang, the emojis, the tone, and then translate them so the intended feeling gets across, no matter what the age gap is. The whole goal is to stop those misunderstandings before they can even happen. And you can see how this goes way beyond just fixing awkward family group chats, right? The potential applications are huge. You're talking about businesses trying to actually connect with younger customers, governments trying to make sure their public messages are clear to everyone, and really anyone who's just trying to communicate better online. Okay, so the big question is, how does an AI even begin to learn something as tricky and fast-moving as generational slang and emotion? Well, the secret sauce, as always, is in the data it learns from. So let's pull back the curtain and see what it's feasting on. The secret is that the AI learns from a massive diet of real-world digital conversations. It's analyzing everything from social media posts on Twitter and Instagram to deep dives into online forums to public government petitions and even meme and emoji databases. This huge variety of data lets it learn the context and the feeling behind how different age groups are really talking to each other right now. So behind the scenes, every single one of those tweets, comments, and messages gets broken down into structured data. It logs the text itself, the likely generation of the user who wrote it, the platform it came from, and of course the emotional sentiment. This is how it turns all that messy, chaotic human conversation into something clean and organized that a machine can actually understand and learn from. The tech itself is really interesting. It uses this kind of three-step process. First up, a model called Cobert figures out the core message of the message. Then, the incredibly powerful GPT-4 rewrites that message, adjusting the tone for different generations. And finally, a model called Clip analyzes the visuals, the memes and emojis, to understand their cultural vibe. So yeah, it's a really smart, multi-layered approach for what is, let's be honest, a very multi-layered problem. And get this isn't some far-off 10-year research project. The plan here was a super rapid 6-week sprint. That's from collecting all that data to building and training the models, and then actually testing a working demo with 200 real users. It just goes to show how incredibly fast these AI tools can be developed and put into action. All right, so the theory is cool, but let's get to the fun part. What does this thing actually do? Let's see some of that magic in action. Okay, this right here is the main event. Look at this. A Gen Z user types the equivalent of, "I'm so pissed off today." For a Gen X audience, the AI tweaks it to, "I was really angry today," which softens the tone just a bit. But for a boomer, it becomes, "I had a very upsetting day," which conveys the same core emotion, but in a way that's more likely to be met with empathy instead of maybe alarm. It's the same meaning, but a totally different feeling. And it's not just about translating messages one by one. The tool also has this cool trend dashboard. This lets anyone, whether you're a marketer, a politician, or, hey, even just a confused parent, see which emojis and slang terms are actually trending with different age groups in real time. It's like a constantly updated guide to the digital landscape. And this is where it gets seriously powerful. The AI can actually act as a conflict predictor. Imagine this. Before you even hit send, it analyzes your message and warns you that, hey, there's a 70% probability your phrase, "kids these days," is going to get a negative reaction from a younger audience. It's like having spell check, but for your emotional tone. How cool is that? So you can see this is way more than just some fun little app, right? But what's the real world impact here? Why does a tool like this actually matter? Well, the project has some really clear, measurable goals. We're not talking about vague hopes here. These are hard targets. The aim is to slash emotional misunderstandings by 30%, to achieve over 85% accuracy in correctly interpreting emojis, and to deliver these translations in under 2 seconds. And you can just imagine how this could be used pretty much everywhere. For businesses, you could have marketing and HR teams fine-tuning their messages. For governments, they could make sure public health announcements resonate with everyone. And of course, for all of us, there could be a simple app that helps families navigate their group chats just a little more smoothly. But beyond all the business plans, there's a really powerful social mission at the heart of this. The ultimate goal, the big dream, is to use this kind of technology not to divide us further, but to actually build some bridges, to help foster a digital world where everyone feels a little more seen and a little more understood. So, as we wrap this up, let's just take a step back and think about the really big picture for a second. What could a technology like this mean for the future of how we all talk to each other? And that's really the question I want to leave you with. If we can build an AI that can learn to decode the hidden emotional subtext in our messages, what can that AI teach us about ourselves? Could a tool like this do more than just help us communicate better? Could it actually teach us how to be more empathetic? Definitely something to think about. Thanks for tuning in.